They want me to do Marilyn Monroe, as I said before. Very controversial stuff. So let's stay focused on the thing.
On that a little bit.
Robert Wagner.
Yeah, I got to ask you a question,
Wagner,
too.
Go ahead.
But I got to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Wasn't their marriage really shaky? Weren't they fighting a lot and all this stuff? Because what I heard, they were fighting on the boat. Yeah, well, I don't know, but it seemed like they were fighting on that night of whatever happened to her.
Oh, yeah, I'll take you to that. Yeah, you want me to take you to that story Friday and Saturday night? I could do that.
Well, I think the listeners need a little bit to know about this background leading up, because a lot of our listeners are young, and a lot of people might not even know who Natalie was. And, she was a famous actress. She had, what I remember of her, she had a great smile and her eyes.
Well,
Natalie's, her eye, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Todd, let's clarify this, too. Wasn't Natalie Wood the beautiful child actress in the movie The Miracle on 34th Street about the Christmas Santa Claus in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? You see, that was Natalie Wood. She was a child star as well before she became very famous later on in her career.
Natalie was prophesized, the gypsies prophesized to her mother, a Russian immigrant, that the world would know this little girl's eyes. And they did. And Natalie was beautiful. And the investor that came to me, he was in love with her. They all were. Dennis Davern, the captain, was in love with Natalie, right? We're all in love with, she employed him. That was the boss. She was the most famous actress of her time. She was a real actress, too. She was an amazing talent. You're talking James Dean, you're talking like the heavy hitters of Hollywood, like Rebel Without a Cause, Splendor in the Grass, West Side Story. People grew up with Natalie. She was at one time next to Shirley Temple. She's the most famous child actress of all time. Okay, there's a lot of these trophies, and I used to drive these things. Oh, it's Natalie Wood, and she was a star. Yeah, her mom coached her, basically, trained her, like Tiger Woods' dad. You know what I mean? So Friday night, Saturday night, we'll just let me get into it so you can ask the questions of the closure and I don't want to throw Christopher Walken under the bus. Robert Wagner's already been thrown under the bus many times in answering your question that you asked before. Yes, he's been almost arrested. They almost exhumed Natalie's body. I was part of the team when the ad came on the cover of the magazine that said, "We're exhuming Natalie's body." That, again, I was blown away. What's going on? What am I gotten myself into? And anyway, Friday night, Natalie invited Christopher Walken to go on a trip because the actors would do a trip together, and their movie was about to come out, and it was a rainy, stormy Thanksgiving. It was a holiday weekend, and RJ didn't want to go. So the trip was already starting out, relatively rocky, and they leave, and they head out to Catalina Island on their 62-foot Splendor, and things are bad from the get-go. And Friday night, there's a fight, and I'm going to do this in two parts. So I'm going to tell you the story in two parts. I'm going to divide it right down the middle. Okay. The first night's Friday night. So that's the night we established that Natalie and Christopher Walken are somewhat very friendly, and everyone's having a good time, and Dennis Davern's smoking a joint, and someone's going to pull pills out, and it's going to get crazier, and not too crazy, but they're going to do alcohol and some drugs, and the night spins out of control. And Friday night, now there's a fight already. Okay. Now, no one knew this. None of the police knew this. No one knew it. There was no file. No one ever made an official statement. Walken was asleep. RJ didn't know where Natalie was. Davern, he had the music turned up too loud. He couldn't hear. He was hearing the Stones. He was listening to the Rolling Stones. Okay. But where's Natalie? He's looking over the perch, the captain's perch. Where's now? Oh, there she is. Wait, I better not watch this. And Walken was mad for many reasons, and Christopher Walken is a sympathetic character, but I'll get to that after. So let's start back to the first part. So the first night, Friday, there is a fight, and there's an argument. Natalie makes the captain, Dennis Davern, take her ashore, okay, to sleep in a hotel because she didn't want to be near her husband. So the last bed Natalie Wood made was with her boat captain, not her husband. Okay? And so that was setting up. And there's a very little famous line that they put in their book, and they talked about where Natalie said, "Dennis, tomorrow I want my body flown off this island." And it was.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and there were all, again, I go back to the cryptic Easter eggs, and I talk about the symbolism and the fate and the destiny, and you got to look for these moments as an investigator, as a reporter, whatever. I'm not really a reporter, but you have to look for these moments and look and go on these journeys, and it's fascinating. But anyway, first night again. Do you have any question about the first night so far? She's ashore now in a hotel with her captain. They ran away from Robert Wagner, who they left Christopher Walken on the boat with Robert Wagner, and now they hate each other, and those two guys are by themselves, and your wife's ashore with the boat captain sleeping in bed. And she says, "Keep your jeans on, Dennis," because Dennis is getting thoughts of having sex with Natalie Wood because he loves her. So there's drama. Anyway, go ahead. Let's stay on Friday.
Well, Michael,
and then I'm going to bring it home. I'm going to give your listeners the whole deal here.
What do you think, Michael, at this point?
Well, right now, I'm telling you what, I had no idea of all these details here. And I don't know that anybody else did at the time the press release came out. The fact that there was, love triangles going on, competition between heavy-duty male actors, regarding Natalie. So
I like that.
And jealousy, too.
Fascinating stuff. Keep going, buddy.
You got it, buddy. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? Remember? Remember that movie?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, what is it? It's a bunch of people arguing with each other. What are you doing, Dennis? Everyone's got their play. Everyone's got their angle. Everyone's mad at each other. They all hate each other. You see, you get it? See, and so Friday night sets up the chaos. And now it's already kind of laid out. So she's ashore. Let's pick it up. I got to stay focused. All my people listening right now are like so judging me.
Yeah.
You know who you are. Stay on Friday night. So they're ashore in a hotel. He's there. "Oh, keep your jeans on, Dennis." And he wasn't going to jump her or anything. But anyway, that's the last night of Natalie Wood on Earth. She made her bed with her captain. Okay? The next morning, they go back, and everything's going to be fine because Natalie's going to correct it. She is. She already told the captain, "I'm going to fix it. We're making breakfast." They have breakfast. She goes back. Everything's cool. I mean, they're on a splendor. They're famous. Robert Wagner, Heart to Heart, Stephanie Powers. There's an interesting story about Stephanie Powers' husband who died and was found fallen and struck on the head. It's an interesting story about her husband's murder. Anyway, back to Friday night. They come back. Everything's cool. There's all this tension still. They start Robert Wagner and Robert Wagner and Christopher Walken start arguing and getting more intense. Now it's like, it's borderline physical. Do you know what I mean? Where there's like this tension, and Natalie's fault here, because I have a lot of responsibility. Maybe I should talk about Natalie real quick too here, because I think that's, I have a lot of responsibility when someone gives you something like the Natalie Wood murder solve, or you have something like that. And I can talk about her candidly. I can talk about her with a straight face because I have to, right? And so Natalie's fault was letting it to keep going on without seeing the red flags, without seeing that RJ was stewing, a couple whiskeys, maybe some pills. He was stewing. Walk in. He's the film actor. Just came off Chimino. Just came off The Deer Hunter. He's the most famous actor of his generation.
And he was really hot at that time,
he was one of the
too.
hottest. Oh, he was. Yeah, it was like that was the anyway. So staying focused. So Walken and Wagner have this tension, and it's building, and it's getting worse, and it's Natalie's fault. Back to her fault. She's letting that go without knowing enough to be like, shit, something's up. And when the second night comes and you're a woman and you're Natalie Wood and your husband's violent and he's drunk, okay, and he's angry, know it. And when he's beating her on Saturday night and the captain's watching it and Walken's listening to it, okay, that's when someone's got to do something. But I have to look at Natalie too, karmically, from her life. I have to be like critical of her. It's the only way, right, to do it. Okay? So she didn't see the red flags. She let it happen. It gets worse. Now we go into Saturday. Okay? She's back on the boat. Now everything's cool. They go to dinner. This takes us to Saturday night. Okay? They're at dinner. People report a very strange scene of like them in a booth and like the walk-in tension and Wagner and like how Natalie's there, and people thought it was surreal. They're seeing the most famous actors, like 3 of the most famous actors, sitting in front of them, arguing with each other for real. Like, and it's like, what could you guys be arguing about? You know what I'm saying? You're all rich. You're all famous. You're having dinner. RJ, it's your wife. She's not going to have sex with a man in front of you on the boat. Relax, right? Chris Walken, that's Natalie Wood's husband. Chill out, dude. Like, don't hit on her or don't, like, engage her. Buddy up with Wagner as a man. You always watch a man's girl. You don't mess with another guy's woman. This is going to go back to all the man code, too, okay, of this whole story. So Saturday, yeah, so it's at night now. It's worse. And RJ becomes enraged and violent. Okay, and this is the famous story of the bottle smashing on the table and glass flying in their face. And do you want to have sex with my wife, Chris? And that line comes out, and Natalie jumps up. I'm divorcing you. But let me rewind.
Yeah,
so the
please,
night is still.
do.
Yeah, let me rewind a little. You tell me the timing of it, too. Like we said, we have some other segment we can do, too. You know what I mean? Because the more I reveal on Natalie, it can get pretty intense. But you let me know.
Well, I want to know.
To it. I'm just going to cut to it.
I want to know. But I got a question to ask you at this point. Now, I don't know if you thought about this, Michael. But, okay, Christopher Walken and RJ or RW were together that by themselves.
RJ,
yeah. That night on the boat. Now, were they getting in? I wonder if they were fighting that night between themselves, or did they make up, or or did they plot a murder with Natalie at that point? I'm just kind of curious. I know the listeners are curious right now, aren't you, Michael?
Well, yeah, and sounds like there's the ultimate love triangle in there. Plus, they've got the captain of the boat. I mean, this is just a volatile situation all around.
Jealousy everywhere.
Picture of I mean, picture a 62-foot boat. How small is that? I mean, anyway. Okay. So getting to it, I think it's a good point to just dive into it. So, all right. So Saturday night, they come back from dinner. Dinner's tension filled. They head back to the boat. They ride the dinghy. The dinghy had its own name or something like, all these little cute things between Natalie and RJ, and this is Natalie's last 2 hours of life. She'll be dead by 1 a.m. And they come back to the boat, and it gets crazy, and we go back to the bottle smashing, and they're having a political dialogue, and someone gets mad and something, and again Natalie's not seeing the signs of it all, and RJ just takes a bottle and just explodes it, just right on the table, and they auction that table off, which I thought was interesting at some point. And the glass flies, and it's oh my God! And Natalie Walken gets up, and Walken's so mad, he says nothing. He's ready at this point to stab Robert Wagner. Any man, if a man smashed a bottle in your face in front of a woman, would you stand up and walk to your cabin and go to bed, bury your head like an ostrich in the sand?
Why did you?
And then when the police ask you what happened, and you say, I don't know, and the cops, you turn on the cops, man, and I don't want to mess with the police, trust me. But when the cops, there's got to be investigative work. There has to be effort. Noguchi got fired. Sinatra wrote the letter. Don't mess with the celebrities. Don't talk about Natalie. Don't talk about Sinatra went after him. This is old school Hollywood. This is before cell phones. There's no internet. There's no, there's no video games, and it's a different time. And Sinatra went after Noguchi, and there was all the drama with the police. That's a whole story. There was a whole movie. There was a series, and Hollywood messed it up. They missed it. and we're still doing it. It doesn't matter. We'll still make the movie. We'll still make the